Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you already know, I'm your brother Rama Flipper with yet another video of Inside Out. Now, today with me here is one of my own people, my own professor. He's known in Brescia as the richest man in Brescia. Come on, when you hear his name, you know that you know the person I'm talking about. He's none other than my own man, Mr. Osikeni Georges. Boss, I greet you.
Very well.
Now, thank you very much for honoring my invite. You know, I've been planning to call you for a long time now, but by the grace of God, you are here today. We are going to have a very interesting conversation.
Sure.
I'll try my best not to make it look like question and answer. We will converse so that it becomes lively. Now, today we are going to talk about a very delicate issue, or a very delicate topic, let me say, in this generation. The topic for today is contemporary marriage. Contemporary marriage. Now, when I say contemporary marriage, it's funny to me, the whole topic in itself. But I chose it because I feel like this particular generation needs to hear something like that.
Okay.
You understand? So, now when I say contemporary marriage, how would you want to tackle it, the whole issue?
Thank you anyway, thank you. I mean, it feels good to find myself in that about studio. Sincerely, I'm happy. The initiative is very beautiful and it's an honor. I thank you for opportunity. I'm sure you could have called many people, but I chose to call your brother to share. I mean, just a thought we'll be sharing together. Hopefully, it is going to help anybody out there, and I know that you can put it on your time, anywhere you can put it. Guess what? There's something I believe in, that informations are scarce, even though there are many everywhere. But the truth is very scarce. Yeah. And if you dare find one, share with your brother. Sharing, they say, is caring anyway. So thank you for the time. I mean, the word is contemporary. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you think like the way I think, when I see words like that, I have so many thoughts that come into my mind. They're going to pick the word contemporary.
Yeah.
With Italian maestro like me, you know, I like Italian. You put the word contemporary, you have two words together. You have the word con, which is with, and then temporary.
Yeah.
That is a problem already. The word with, temporary means current, for a short time, not permanent.
In the moment.
In the moment. Could it be the reason why the marriage doesn't work actually?
We marry in the moment.
We marry in the moment. So we are getting married, but this is for now. We are getting married, but not tomorrow in mind. That is a contemporary man. I'm just trying to explain the word from the other way of thinking. Could that be the reason why we approach marriage the way we approach it? Just by the literal syllabical meaning of the word. Like a syllable is con, and then it's tempora. Now, when I was looking at that, one word that came to mind, the word the Italian called it temperino. You know, temperino is like the sharpener we used in our schools. When we were kids, anybody who used sharpener to sharpen your matita, your pencil. Guess what? Based on the shape of the sharpener, temperino, determines how far or the shape of the pencil. So if it's a big pencil, most of these temperino have two holes. Yeah. One is smaller, one is bigger. So when a person wants to do temporary marriages, they have only two choices. Either it gets too small for you or gets too big for you, and that is a problem. That's what we do. That's what we do in marriage.
I like the ideology you're trying to chip in. I like it because now, when you talk about anything temporary, right? When it's temporary, it looks more like in the moment it feels good.
Thank you.
So let me do it. In that particular moment, I don't like the word feel. I don't like using the word feel at all. When I was younger, I liked it. Oh, I like the way this thing feels. But then, growing up, I got to understand that you won't feel like that forever. So, what it feels good now.
Thank you.
What about next year? Let me not worry about next year. Next year is still fresh. In marriage for like 5-6 years is sweet. You understand? 5-6 years is sweet.
Sure.
But then it's like I think Bishop Oscar gave an example to marriage. He said marriage is like chewing gum. When you put it in your mouth fresh, if it's mint, everything is clear. You hear the mint and everything. Just be patient. Chew it for like 2 hours. After 2 hours, you might just feel the flavor, but you don't feel the mint anymore. But you bought it because of the mint. So if it's the mint that you are looking for, then it's about time you throw away the down. So when talking about contemporary marriage and then the things you are talking about, that is what comes into my head. Making me understand that, yes, you've gotten married. In that moment, you felt good, but what happens?
Can you keep the feeling forever?
Exactly.
It's a good question to ask. Now, whether it will be big or smaller depends upon the template you are using. I'm trying to look at the word temporary, the template, right? There is a template you need to use to determine how far you can enjoy this thing forever. Actually, the bad part for us when you get to African is that there's only one way in, no way out. I mean, that is very scary thing that there's only one way in. If it's only one way in, then you should make sure that the mint will stay in the gum.
Forever.
But the thing that it doesn't stay. No, in as much as you are chewing the gum, there will come a time that the mint will
You will
be
not
there.
feel the mint again.
The question is, if there is no mint, what do I do?
Am I still willing to chew?
Thank you. And do the bad of it, when you chew without the mint, you begin to feel the pains at your jaw.
But the truth is, even at the initial stages, maybe there might be the pain, but because of the mint,
Because at least you are enjoying it.
Yeah.
There is something that comes out of it. Now, let me pick another word. When you say the word temporary, that means for the moment. You can feel the moment, you can enjoy the moment. But look at another line. Another word I could see was the word contempt, right? It's contempt. Could that be another reason why with the problem with a marriage? When you say somebody's contempt of court, it's like the courts have a case they are dealing with. And then you as a human being, you are not a judge, you are not a lawyer, you are not plaintiff, you are not an advocate, you are nothing. You pick the subject out of court and you want to discuss the subject in your bedroom, especially on the social media.
they hold you in contempt.
They'll say this is contempt of court. Don't forget, marriage is legality. Now, could that be also the reason why we take the marriage from the original master, the maker of the marriage, we take it out of his box, and when we take it out of his box and his thoughts, we want to make it our own. So today we have gay marriage, but there's nothing like gay marriage before God.
Exactly.
Before the maker, there's not a gay marriage, no? There's not even like a cultural marriage. Nothing like that before the maker of the marriage. There is nothing like a contemporary marriage. Nothing like that before the maker. Before the maker, there was only one thing called marriage. Punto.
It is it. Now, talking about bringing in the maker, obviously we are Christians, so whatever we are saying is from a theological point of view. We are talking as Christians. Now, let's talk about the precept of marriage, right? The birth of the whole marriage thing itself. What do you think? Talk to me about marriage from its birth. Let's not talk about the contemporary, because we'll drag it from then until now, so that we see the things that the ones that we have taken out, and then the ones that we are putting ourselves. So let's talk from the beginning, the birth of marriage. What do you have to say?
I mean, it's a very interesting part. I mean, we can't be talking about anything without knowing the maker's mind.
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes it's funny. All of us buy products, like you buy cameras, and then on top of the camera there is the maker's mind. On top of the camera, tell you, oh God, it will be saying, the man will be saying, before you unearth this very product, read me completely before you do this. And every one of us, including myself, we are so wise in our own self.
we know what we want to do with the product.
We don't actually care. Who cares what the maker is saying? But sometimes, what the truth is that sometimes you may try, you may even know something, but there are certain things that you will never be able to unearth or make good use of the product without using the manual.
Exactly. True.
And that is what we do. Now, let's look at it. What is the original mind of the maker of marriage? Now, there is this man who lived, he had people, then he felt like, I want to have an extension of myself in a particular country. So, when he made that environment, he said, no, I've made this environment. I need people who represent me in this way dimension. Then he created this man. Now, the way he created that man is very powerful. He made the man to lie down. And then when the man lied down, he put the man to sleep. I mean, I will spend my time on that. It will be the most important part. I'll come to it again. To the man to sleep. And then he said, when the man is sleeping, I'll pull out of this man something. Then he pulled out of this man a rib. Now, after he created this man, let me shock you. Before he took taking out the rib, he created this man. Then he kept the man in the garden. Interesting. Not in the bush. I tell you all the time, the Bible is so instructive. None of us can close our eye to what God wants to say. Now, you can tell that he didn't keep the man in the bush and told him, actually, keep you in the bush. You are over 17 years old. Start with it.
Yeah.
But he kept him in an ordered place. Trying to give you the thought that, Oga, I created you here, but I have something in mind. Order in mind. Then after doing that, the Bible said in 17, Genesis 2, he brought animals to this man. That is funny thought to see. You think I'm quoting Bible? Let me just show you what the Bible says so that you don't say, George, is it you talking or is the Bible? Is the Bible talking?
As I said
George,
initially, we are talking from a theological point of view. We are Christians, so whatever we are saying is based on the Bible. So when he says something and he's backing it up, understand it.
I mean, it's very interesting to see that. And the Lord took man and put him into a garden. He took the man, put him to the garden, then he gave him one order: dress it and keep it. Now, don't forget, it was already in an ordered place. Then he still told him to dress it. Now, let me pause to say this. Any woman you get, it doesn't matter the form they keep, they still need some dressing.
Exactly.
Actually, if you can't dress a perfect woman, you are not ready to marry yet. That is what it means right there. That anything that God brought to this man, he was still supposed to dress it and not just leave it. You dress it and keep it. Because you can dress then lose it. But interesting, Genesis, I'm going down. He didn't do anything. After he created the man, he said, "Okay, I bring you animals." Then he brought these animals. Then he began to name the animals. That about, you can't believe it. That after he finished naming the animal, the Bible carefully said he didn't find wife in any of the animals. That is a very strange verse to see in the Bible. The Bible says that means God brought animals to Adam. More like to say, can you find wifey in an animal?
In any of these things.
In any of the, I mean, it's in the Bible. You can go with. I'm Genesis. I'm going down. I don't have all the time, but if you want the Bible, just read it. You will enjoy with it. Then this guy couldn't find actually, let me shock you. Let me pause to say this. I'll come back to it. God always gives wives, but man need to pick a wife. Don't forget, God gives wife, but man have to pick a wife. So God didn't do anything. Even the animals, God brought it to Adam. Adam was supposed to pick. If Adam, I said, so what would have happened? If Adam would have picked a zebra and he said, I call this one wife. What would have been God's thought? But God kept quiet. And Adam couldn't find any. He named this one zebra, this one hippopotamus, this one. Name all the animals as best as he can. And when he couldn't find, the Bible said, when he couldn't find a woman in that, then God said, lay down. Then, that's a part of it I don't like at all. If God is going to use Adam to create, pick out of Adam to create a woman. If it was me, I said, God, open my eyes.
Let me help you create the thing that I want.
You see now, 21st century people. Let me see what you are going to create. Let me tell you the shape I like.
Exactly.
But God put Adam to sleep. Without his permission, then he pulled out of a rib and God didn't do anything. He turned that rib into a woman. Needless to say, God didn't breathe into the rib again. Because the life that was in Adam was enough for the woman. I always tell people, your wife, you were born with it. You don't find them on the road, they are here.
Just have to find them and then bring them back.
They are here. This is why when I see people who say they find a wife, I always ask, did you find some of you or you find somebody that you are making them fit? If you are making them fit, then they are not the ones. You don't have to work the extra. Someone say, I need to get the attention. You are working for nothing. So they should be already here. Sorry.
So in your opinion, like, this is not even an opinion. So from what you are saying, you are trying to make us understand that the wife already is part of you.
You created with it. You came on earth with her.
Okay.
She's already here. This is proven by science that every man have one of the ribs short. Here is 19, here is 20. You came with one missing already. It's already taken. She's supposed to be found here. That is why when you meet the right person, most of the time you don't need to pray for it.
Sometimes you see the person,
you know,
like this person, I'll marry.
She's the one. And most of the time you don't need to struggle. You don't need to impress, oppress, depress. No.
You don't press anything.
You don't press anything. You don't press anything. Yeah. You find the right person, it's easy to go. But let me finish the story. God put this out from the man. Then he made the woman. Then interesting, God didn't tell Adam, this is your wife. Read the Bible. He didn't say this is your wife. Oh. Adam woke up from his sleep. He said, this is the bone of my bone. He knew.
He felt that the thing has.
Thank you.
FAT
is just in place. No. You see, the guy started prophesying. The bone of the bone, the flesh of my flesh. Then he said, you shall be called woman. That is one part of me that is different. That is a man with a womb. You are a woman. You are a man like I am. But this kind of man has a womb. And God said, wow, the guy get it. That was it.
I believe anybody, if you've heard the story of Adam and Eve before, and then you hear this perspective, you actually get to understand that marriage in itself isn't, finding the wife That is the problem now of this particular generation. We will talk about that maybe subsequently, because I went through a study that was categorizing marriage in the early 90s and then into the, let me say, before the 70s, after the 70s, into the 80s till now. And then they were categorizing marriages. Now, seeing that we are talking about that already, let me chip it in. Before the 70s, there were no industrialization, machines and all those stuff. So it was more like agriculture. So when men were going to marry, they didn't actually look for how beautiful the woman is.
Can they produce?
Exactly. Can they produce? Can they give birth? Can they work the farms? So the ideas of men those times were different when they were choosing women.
Okay.
Then it came to industrialization, where machinery and so many things were available to work the farms. So now when you are going to marry, you don't need a woman that is strong enough.
No.
That is the birth of our problem. Our problem started like 60, 70 years ago. Why? Because the way they chose women changed. The way they began to choose women changed. Now, the problem of contemporary marriage.
Give me, I'm happy you brought that in. I said this with Bishop Olori, and he laughed at me. He said, George, you think too far. Look, I give marriage 3 definitions.
Okay.
Now, before the 18th centuries, the 1800s, where industrialization, like people's eyes began to open. Okay. Now, before that time, this is the definition they had of marriage. 2 people, male and female, coming together with a man in the middle, with an agenda, needing a helper who will produce to help make him rich. Because those days, the greater number a family is, the richer you are. So the main reason for marriage then was production. So you can't give birth. As at that time, when you are getting married, the only thing is, can you give birth? They are not looking, are you skinny? Are you fair? Are you beautiful? No. Can you produce? Can the machine give birth to children? Now, if the machine can produce children, my dear, you are not a wife material. So assuming you are in a home and the family has a problem with childbirth, I mean, already you are gradually failing to get a husband to marry. Exactly. But if you are able to, your sister give birth, your husband marry, they give birth, and then they find you, oh God, that family they give birth, you are the next candidate for a wife. Now, after the 18th centuries, then there came this ideology of people who are looking for women who are intellectuals. Now, one of the finest women that stood out in the 18th centuries, that made a lot of history, if the name come out, I'll tell you, made a lot of history, was this fine woman who was the first to go to the moon with these NASA groups. Okay. Now, this woman went to the moon, and then she came back, and then they realized that what men can do, actually, that is what that is. What men can do, women can do, and even better. So it's like, okay, if what they can do, we can do like they can do, then, oh God, they are not superior. Now, let me pause. In that settings, in Europe, it was easier. Why? Because in Europe, then the woman can claim equality. But don't forget, in as much as there's 18th century and there's knowledge propounded, in circles of Africa, they were still in rural areas. Yeah. So in African marriage, they still have superiority over inferiority. In the Middle East, they still have superiority over inferiority. These are masculine societies. Not like Europe, that is feminine societies where the laws are so binding that if you have a wife in Europe, you have to be careful how you treat her. If not, she call the police for you. If she call the police for you, you are in trouble. Actually, you are going to jail. Anything they say is already yes, and they can't trust their man. As at that time, the definition of marriage was almost equality. Actually, that is where our contemporary ideology of, let me use the word contemporary, referring to the European settings of marriage. Okay. Where me and my wife are the same. Yeah. Because what I can do, my wife can do. What my wife can do, I can do.
I think that was where the authoritative nature of marriage went out. And then they brought it like the word companionship came. Of course. It was like, I am part of the marriage and you are also part. So we are partners in the marriage. So like you don't have any authority over what you can do. You can work, I can work. You
bring money, I bring money. How much money I bring? Sometimes the women,
sometimes they will bring more than
we do. But here is the focus. In as much as even there is that settings, in God's agenda, it's not like God wants superiority over men, over women. But in God's mind, there is a structure. Exactly. It's not superior, but there is structure. We will come to that. But my main focus is this. Before the 18th centuries, there is superiority over inferiority. After the 8th century, there is equality. In our age, there is superiority on the feminine part,
And
inferiority on the men part, at least in Europe. So you can imagine how the problem is for marriage in our 21st century.
Exactly.
More trouble. Actually, let me shock you. There are many women today who are more industrious, very proficient. They can do.
Yeah.
Most of us we can do.
Most men can do.
How can they do? Today they fly jet. Today you can close your eyes and talk about it. Yesterday I was watching a whole documentary on a Nigerian lady in America who has done extreme. The AI that all of us are clapping for. One Nigerian young lady, less than 30 years. I sat there and I was crying. A lady, all of us are here. This is our brain, you are not even using. Can you just imagine that? But that is a woman. Now, if that woman is marrying a guy, that guy should be competent, self-secured to handle a woman like that in the home.
Exactly.
Like they don't take that for granted. Sorry.
Do you think, taking into question what you said right now, a woman like that? Now, I know a lot of women, okay, in society that are doing good for themselves. They're okay. When unfortunately, let me bring this in. When women are doing okay like that, what they say is, "I don't need a man."
Oh, but it's not true.
Right? What they say, no.
They say that.
Then it brings me the thought of, do you think that you need a man just because you are not doing okay?
That's an insult.
You understand? That is the question. So it also comes into question. Now, I would love us to talk about this particular thing. Now, when you have a woman who is industrious, she's successful, she's doing good, okay, and she thinks she doesn't need a man, right? Fortunately, maybe the woman is not gay, so she doesn't like her fellow women. She likes men. And you happen to be a man and then being with that kind of woman. How difficult do you think it's going to be?
To me, I think it should be easier. You know why it should be easier?
No.
Because every woman, let me shock you, every man come closer. If you're a woman, go far a bit. Every woman have a hotspot. Every woman. It doesn't matter how big they are, how strong they are, they always have their hotspot. There is a part of a woman that you can touch and make them keep quiet. I'm not talking about romantically. Sometimes it's about the way you talk to a woman, you can make them quiet.
Exactly.
I always tell people, it takes competent men to handle strong women. So there's so to say this public. There is a guy we were dealing with. So some of the men of God, I want to mention their name. We were at the place and this guy have found a lady. And then the lady is strong. She's a strong woman. Some women are strong. That's what they are. Yeah. They're almost like leaders already. Now, when you're a woman like that, you need the discretion to say, now let me shock you. I'm married for like 11 days now, even though I have 3 children. Now, now there are some things I can't do. I cannot do. My wife can do them. Now, as a good leader, I employ her wisdom. You need wisdom to employ that wisdom. Let me shock you. If you're not able to do that, you can't have joy in that home that you're looking for. Exactly. Let me finish my story, then I'll come back to this. Right. Now, you can see that God has created this man who has now have this woman. This is a woman that God gave to the man. Don't forget that. Now, so when you're looking at the problem with the contemporary marriage, the first problem is that we pick what we like, not the one God gave.
We don't pick the one that belongs to us, the original one that belongs to us.
Oh, I like that word. The original one. So it doesn't fit. So let me shock you. I always tell people, pick anything and work it. Okay? Picking anything and working will not work because you are doing the right thing. Let me shock you. You can be doing the right thing, but when you do the right thing to the wrong person, it's like taking the pig, washing the pig, bringing the pig to your bedroom, clothing him, putting him on the bed. Okay, it's already a pig. It will still go back to the man. So doing the right thing is not the most important thing. Finding the right person, then doing the right thing, then you can have success.
And it makes it beautiful.
But if you wake up and you say, no, hey, me, I know who I like. I'm making my own choice. Okay, you are not that wise. Let me show you. The Bible said that for this purpose. Whoa. So every marriage has a purpose.
Yeah.
Now, there is no single marriage without purpose. If your marriage is without purpose, that means you married wrongly. Oh, did I say that?
He said that. You just said it. Now let's talk about marriage, okay? In general. Mm-hmm. What are just a few points? Then we see, at least for the people listening, they get let me say a clue. Maybe the person is not married, or maybe the person is married and then they don't know what they are about. Because I know a couple of people like that. They are married, they are in the marriage, but they'll be like, they don't even know what am I doing here. Now, what are some of the things that you would advise? Obviously, he's not going to impose anything, or nobody is there to impose. No. But then you would advise that every marriage you have, there are some things that you see that it should flow in every marriage. What are some of the things that you think we can put in place to?
Thank you. I mean, the most important part, let me finish my story, I'll come to that. Find the right man, find the right woman. Then when you have that in place, then you tell yourself, there is a scope, there is a focus for this marriage. Now, every marriage should have first a purpose. So if I have my money, I'll spend my money differently than I will spend this money. Because my life agenda is different. So if my wife marry me, and then she thinks that when I make money, I'll take it to Ga Adangbe meeting and say, Ga Adangbe, I'm sponsoring your party. She's gradually failing. Natana will say. Because that will not be my scope. That will not be my purpose. Now, every marriage should have a purpose. Actually, that is why you are a helpmeet. You didn't come because you want a companionship. That's a problem. You are a helpmeet. And what are you going to help? That is what the purpose. But if you don't know the purpose and you hook up on this very ship, that you don't know where it is going, why then do you complain when it's taking you north instead of south? Or did I say that in English?
You don't have a destination. So just go with the
go along with the. But let me shock you. Every home should have that purpose first. When that purpose is well spelled, that about most of our marriage troubles will be easier.
How do you think people can find that purpose? Because I know a couple of people who are, as I said, they are married, they are enjoying everything, but they don't have that purpose. How do you think they are going to find that?
Thank you. Now, the moment you are born, the being that you are, you came with your purpose, right? Now, for me, I always tell people, to find your purpose, let me not sound very spiritual. Physically, find where your proclivities are, the things that you love to do. Now, there are people that they love to play football. There's some people they love to hang out. Now, if you want to hang out, don't forget perhaps your gift finds in the way of being a journalist, because those are the things I have to look out for. What are my proclivities? Because as a man, in most contexts, there are only few marriages that sometimes the women go supersede the men, that the men have to leave theirs and follow the woman's go. But most of the time, it's the man's go. So as a man, if my proclivities are this, then my wife's supposed to know this is what my husband is for. So I should learn all my expertise in line of this purpose. So when we are spending our money, we know that this marriage has a purpose.
Exactly.
Now, if there is no purpose, I can guarantee that is why the marriages break so easily. When somebody says divorce, I like the word divorce, the word divorce. So it is like two voices saying the same thing at the same time, but under one roof. Now, in any roof, there should be one voice. Under one roof, there should be one voice. There shouldn't be two voices. So if there are two voices, then there will be casino in the home. So the man's supposed to know, what am I called for? Or the woman will say, what am I called for? Which of our gifts is relevant in the age? Okay, perhaps this your gift is better than mine. If you work with yours, it will help the family. We can be more a blessing to many people. So let's work with yours. Then all my energy goes into that. If you don't have that, begin to pray for that. As a couple, let me shock you. Pray for that best as possible, because if you don't have that yet, and you married because, sorry to say, you married, that's contemporary marriage. You married because, I sincerely, I'm feeling so cold. Like my dad about my brother Rafika. Oh, Rafika, sorry, I mentioned your name. Oh, like I'm feeling so cold. So I need to marry. No, it's not enough reason to marry. I am aging, so I need to marry. It's not good to marry. The question is, are you already a marriageable material? Are you already a wife? Then somebody should find you. If you're not a wife yet, nobody should find you.
Go and hide. Don't let yourself.
Thank you. That's the problem now. If you're not a wife material on the road, somebody will pick you for a wife. Somebody who is blind may not see that you are not there yet.
Because maybe you are beautiful, you look attractive. They take you home, and then they'll start blaming you. They'll say you are not a wife material. Probably maybe because you weren't ready to be a wife.
See? But the problem is that the man should have also known. If he also wasn't a man enough to be able to see, because if you're a man enough and you are not a boy, sorry, forgive me, you'll be able to find a young girl from a young woman to a marriageable material. Then you get a website who is a wife. You're able to differentiate between all of them, because somebody is still in the process. Somebody is still a baby. You can tell you are a baby when you marry somebody and everything. They have to go tell their mother. I mean, sincerely, we live in.
That's a very serious.
It's funny, you're dealing with a small girl. I mean, hey, my husband said he want to make love to me. True story.
You ask your mom. Some people ask their mom that.
You won't believe that. Wow. I mean, when we sit, we hear many. Sometimes you ask, so how were you counseled before marriage?
No, what did you think you were going to do?
What did you think you were going to do?
To go and cook and then.
Oh, of course.
Anyway, now let's bring it a little bit to our age. Okay, there are issues that I don't like tackling. I don't like talking about it much, but they are actually real issues that are in society. One is what they call gender roles. Okay, gender roles. As I was saying initially, in the 70s, the woman didn't actually have to come and do much. I am doing my thing. Come, stay at home, give birth, take care of the home, cook for me, and then it was like everything was well defined. The man knew what he was going to do. So that time, that was the reason why marriages worked very well those times.
Well.
Why? Because
only one voice.
I had what I wanted you to come and do for me. So
and
when
your
you
work was well defined.
It was well defined. Everybody knew their role. So you come, you play yours. But in this generation, everybody is doing everything. As a matter of fact, some women believe that they can be fathers.
Interesting.
I have a woman. I actually watched a video. There's a man called Piers Morgan. He's a journalist in UK, and then he interviewed this woman very loud. No. She can't. She's the mother and then the father of her child. And then the Piers Morgan was saying, no, it's called father because it's for a man. You can be a very good parent. That is good. No problem with that. But you can't be a father. So now let's talk about gender roles. Do you believe, or in your opinion, at least in this generation, do you believe that there are gender roles in marriages or relationships, or we should just work it out and then let it go, seeing how industrialized the world has become?
I mean, it's a very interesting question to see people talk about that I can be. I mean, it's one thing when you say you can be, and another thing when you are, right? You may be super guessing on the words of your mind. You say, oh, I can be a man. She said, me, I think I can be a woman. I'm not joking. Because there are many times that when my children wake up, when my children were born, I'm the first to always put them at my back. I'm very good at that. Because when my mother gave birth to me, I'm a homeboy person. Naturally, I don't go out. So when all my young brothers were born, they were all behind me. So my mother would sit me down, then he would tie it around me. So I kept always in the house. Because I'm in the house, I was like helping her. So I grew up knowing how to do it. So I can truly be a wife, if that is how to define it. Because don't forget, being a man, being a woman, let me say that way, a wife, it's not only putting children at your back.
Exactly. it entails a lot.
It entails a lot. So running your lips, let me tell you, as much as you have this tablet, should I say tablet? You know, so you have this tablet, and then you won't say you are a man. No, you can't be a man. You are not a man. You can act like it, because to be a man, it's not just what you are on the outside, but the way you think on the inside.
Exactly.
To be a man is not a joke. I tell people all the time, to say you are a man, that's why there are not many men. Let me shock you, there are not many men. There are many boys on the road with beard. That's possible. But to find real men, no, they don't come easily. That is why the world has more problem. Because men are not at home. That's why I love talking about marriage, because guess what? If a child is well raised in the home where there is a man and a woman, that child will turn out right. When they turn out right, the community, the village, their turns out right.
Now, you see, when you are talking about these things, turning out right, let's use that word, turn out right. Turn out right, not necessarily to say maybe you will grow to become rich or anything.
No.
But then you will grow in the right way.
You are responsible.
You know what a woman does. You know how to regard a woman, how to respect a woman, like your mother.
Because you saw it, you have a template.
How to give honor to your a person because you are the father. So when you become a father, you already know how to play that role.
Thank you.
So imagine having a man that was raised completely by a woman. Not actually to say it's a bad thing, because some people have broken homes and then maybe the man died.
You don't have a choice.
There's no problem with that. But there are some things that people who grew up in a complete home, complete as in the mother is there, the father is there, you were disciplined by your father, you were raised and loved, you know, tough love and all those things. You were balanced through those things. When you, as you said, you will be right. You will be raised right.
You will be responsible. I mean, let me shock you. That part of it, when you are raised by one man, there is a book by Hossin Snells about marriage in rocks. Then he explains when you have a couple in at home where the man is an absentee man, the child raised up differently. And then when the man is not there at all, the child are raised differently. In the home where the man dies, the child is raised differently. Now, that should let you know that when God was thinking male and female, he wasn't cracking joke. So that woman, it doesn't matter what she feels. It's only a feeling. And you can say you can, but you are not. Because it's not what you say. It is the way you carry yourself. Like for me, I don't scream at my children. I'm a man. I tell my wife, I'm not a girl. I don't scream at children. No, I think as a man, I should raise my children to be stronger, not weak. So I won't put fear in them to scare me. No, only people who are not secure in themselves put fear in others because they think they can intimidate them. Let them be stronger. Real men think like that. They don't fear who gets up because they know who they are. We are not in competition. The world is so big, the sky is so big. Both of us, we can be there, and all of us have our space. So you don't get scared because somebody is flying. You are not, because you know that everybody have their way and their road of living life. That is exactly how men think. But women don't. Because for a woman, she is first a feeling, a feminish. So that femininity makes them to become where they should be strong. I mean, you are married, so you understand the mood swings that women go through. Yeah. You need wisdom to be able to handle all the mood swings at that point. When somebody is married for 30 years, the same woman, I mean, respect that man, clap for them, because let me shock you, women have many different faces. It's not easy. Oh, see, many different, and man need the discretion to maintain that home. Let me shock you. When you are looking for your spouse, you are looking for somebody to marry, the most important part is make sure that that man is an Edenic man. He is first in Eden. It's important that you can't take that out. Don't in any form. Even the person is not born again, they are not Christians per se. Let me shock you. There is what you call Edenic lifestyle. That's why some people are not in church, but their marriage is working. Yeah. Because it's not where you are, it's the principles you live with. And yeah, that's what you have there. So if that woman will say, okay, I'm in a home, I don't have a husband, but God is my husband. So many of the talking to me done by the Bible will do it for you. That is when you can say you're able to handle. But no, you running your race because you think you can scream or because you think you can shout, then you are a man. You are not a man. My sister, I beg you. You have tablet and you are always a woman. When you have these marriages, like I was trying to define, you have the marriage before the 18th century. The ideology are two people coming together. They definitely have to be a male and a female. They didn't believe in gay anywhere. Of course, they were still gay, just that it wasn't popular. Right? So they still believe in the coming together of a male and a female coming together to help to have and achieve a focus. Most of the time, to build a big farm and make money. See, the best they can do is be famous in the neighborhood. That they can sell their product, at least barter trade, help them live their life very well. Now, when you go past that, you come to our dispensation where like a contemporary marriage, where it may not necessarily be a male and a female. It has to be two people, or two beings. We're supposed to marry dogs and marry cats. Have you seen that too? People actually marry dog. I was like, marry a dog. I'm like, are you sure? See, it can be anything, and they call it marriage. Two people coming together. The motive of this is self-gratification. This is why I tell people, when you come into the kingdom marriage, not the Bible marriage, because the Bible has many kinds of marriage, but the kingdom marriage is when you have two people, sure, a male and a female, no way than that, coming together because of a single purpose. That purpose is well spelled to them before they got into it. And this purpose was not coming to them. It has already God preordained before the foundation of the world that these people are meant to walk in it. Now, that is a kingdom marriage. If you don't have a kingdom marriage, I beg you, you are not allowed to have success. You are not allowed to have joy. Why? Because in the cultural marriage, you have superiority over inferiority. In the contemporary marriage, superiority, inferiority over a man and a woman. But in the kingdom marriage, you have equality with structure. That is why the best marriage is the kingdom marriage. And that can only be found when you pick the man in the garden. He is first in order. That man is in order. It's not because he's found doing something. He's in his purpose. He is in. That's why God a garden first. It's a garden, not a bush where you should not. God said, "I give you a garden." Then that man was enough to discern between an animal and a human being. I mean, sorry to say, there are so many men they can't discern between a human and can I say that? They go into every sketch. Oh, sorry. Oh, did I say that? No offense to any man. I mean, you should be able to know this one is an animal. I mean, anything outside your home is an animal for sure. You shouldn't go. That is God speaking to us. Not necessarily to insult anyone, but then to make you understand. It's a figure of speech, actually. Thank you. Not really to say you see a woman and then the woman is an animal. No, not really. So you are supposed to be able to tell that this is not mine, therefore it's an animal. It's a no-go area for me. That is exactly what I mean. So this is mine. Then that man already was in the purpose. Find a man doing what he's doing. Then you know. So I'm coming in that, but I know what you are doing. So I'm coming to help what you're doing. Exactly. I mean, let me give a funny example. There was a man of God I love, Bishop Akinsole. Sorry, I mentioned his name publicly. He said this story. He said, George, when I got married, my wife didn't know I was going to be a pastor because they were not pastors. Actually, the woman was more anointed than the man. Now, if one day they become pastors like they are today, powerful, great man of God, can you ever wake up? You know that the woman then have to, you need a whole shift, like a whole, I'm not sure how best to make this one difficult, a whole shift to then find yourself in a new purpose. That is very difficult. So you always, John, me and my wife, we fight every day. Do you know, I said it because I said it in the church capsule before. He said it directly. They fight every day. Do you know why? And I always said to the man, I said, Papi, do you know why? Because it's the same thing. If the purpose was well defined before agenda, the woman that come in seeing you do this. Actually, when you marry a woman who is already your church member, the respect is constant. Am I right?
It's true. It's true.
But
she already knows what you do. So
thank you.
No foul expectation.
David. Actually, you already been daddied before you actually became a husband. So the honor is there. But here is the case, both of you were on the road.
No one knew.
Nobody knew.
Was coming to do this thing.
Actually, the woman was more anointed. Actually, the woman brought the man to church. So you can talk about that.
Overtaking.
But guess what is the key? Now they are in a different form, and he said it. That really is in Christ. I have the video there. He said, George, we fight all the time.
I was in church when they
okay, thank you.
I remember.
So I'm not making up a story. You were there. The ideology is this. Is because when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So you should first know what is the purpose of this marriage. You want to pick somebody, the first question is, okay, where are you going?
Exactly. Now, talking about contemporary marriage, our brother here is trying to give us all advice, especially to the young ladies. Because, you know, when the love is in, you people are the ones that usually lose your focus. So find a man, yes, that is the right thing to do, but find a man that is in his purpose. So at least when you are coming along to help, you will not be frustrated along the way, because when you came, the man wasn't doing anything. So you are asking yourself every day, you keep questioning yourself, how did I get myself into this? To find a man with a purpose and you won't be frustrated. Let's move on. Now, the next thing I would love us to talk about, still concerning contemporary marriage, is finance.
Mercy.
Okay, finance in marriage. So many people have thousands of ideologies. And if you do it like this, it works. You do it like this, it works. And what would be your advice? What would be your advice? Some people would say, keep all your money in one account so that everybody sees what's going, what's coming. They'll be like, no, let me keep my own account. I believe there is, I won't say there is a definite way. For this particular one, I myself do not believe there is a definite way for everybody. Sure. Okay, one size doesn't fit all. But what is your take on that?
I mean, thank you again. I mean, it's the things that break marriage. The first is finance. The second is sex. So you can't talk about marriage and overlook finance.
Exactly.
But let me shock you. That is why you can't do without the original template of marriage, and then want to have the maker's thought when he made the product called marriage, right? Now the product he had in mind, he had a structure. He said, both of you should be in the home. The woman should submit, the man should love. Now, not because the man is wiser, intelligent, no, because God said, I need the structure. Based on the structure, I want the man to be the head. Now, the moment you pick any man, whether he knelt down to beg you to marry him, it doesn't matter whether he crawled to marry you, whether he persuaded you to marry him. If you can't honor his opinion and respect whatever he says, don't marry him, because he is your head. Punto.
In the marriage.
In the marriage. Okay. Therefore, what that man thinks should be the finance of the home should stand. Now, I know this is very hard stand. I said this, Bishop Olumide said, John, that's a very hard stand. I said, Papi, I'm not trying to be contemporary. I want to tell you what God says. Exactly. But anytime that you want to prefix anything to marriage, that's where we get problem. So we say it is a gay marriage. It is a cultural marriage. It's a traditional marriage. Why don't you say it's marriage? When you say it's marriage, then there is nothing prefixed. The only thing is, what are the templates for marriage? Okay. God picked a head. So he picked a head. I mean, we were dealing with this issue. That was a very funny issue. A couple of young girls got to marry. Then the lady said, I want to marry, but I don't want to be a young mother. And the young guy said, I don't want to be an older father. Okay.
One wants it immediately and one wants it later.
Now, if you sit there and you ask yourself, what will you say? I said, okay, do you know what the truth is? In as much as you want to marry him, he decides. If you are wise, persuade him. That's what I tell people. Persuade him and help him change. But don't think that your opinion will make it should be what you're saying.
Should be taken.
No, it doesn't, because the head makes the decision.
Exactly.
I tell people, my wife, you can say anything you want to say. I should listen to you. And sincerely, I'm not a man that abuse my wife, take my wife for granted at all. But you know what? Whenever she finishes talking, I make the decision. And I tell people, make the decision. Now, don't forget, when you make the decision, first consider yourself, right? Then consider your wife. Then consider the children. If you first consider yourself, you then, hey, what am I doing? This is what I'm going to do. Is it good for me? Not just for, because whenever you think I make the decision, you're not careful, you may be so selfish that you may just make a decision because you are the head, no? But in as much as you want to submit or want to say, yes, I do, which you don't even know what you are going to do, when you say, yes, you do, then you should do. What should you do? Do what the man said.
Okay.
So the man said,
with what you are talking about, okay, initially we spoke about something and then you mentioned your wife's, let me say, how you value your wife's opinion, okay? Let's talk about this financial issue. Maybe you happen to have a wife who is financially inclined. Like they know their way around money. Do you think in this particular issue, obviously she's going to give you advice, but then if you listen to her, she'll be like, you are doing, people, it might look like you are doing what your wife said. How do you handle that kind of thing? Like, is it not?
Who want to be happy that your wife give a good counsel and you follow the advice?
It is beautiful.
Except you have, sorry to say, forgive me, you have unwise woman who will then think that proud because my husband did what I said. No.
They will say my husband does what I say.
No. You should say, hey, when I give my husband a counsel, he listens to me. I mean, it's a joy. My wife did economics. When I have money issues, she will have to calculate. Say, okay, you sincerely for me, I don't do, but I don't even have time. So she have to do everything and tell me what happens. We don't have financial problem. Do you know why? It's because I made the decision, but she keeps the money.
She's the accountant.
She's the accountant, but I made the decision. Now you see, you need the wisdom to manage this finance, because in as much as if they are not giving anything, anybody will say yes because they are not producing anything. But if they are giving something and perhaps they are giving more than you do, and then you want to say you are making the decision because you are the head, no, okay,
It becomes a
see. But the thing is that the structure in the scripture says this is the head. He made the decision. So if I'm a wise woman, I will use my feminine influence. I always say women are very powerful. I mean, if you have powerful women like Delilah, they know the Jezebel, they know what to do. They know how to make the king do evil that he doesn't want to do.
He didn't even mean to do.
No, he said, is it neighbor vineyard you want? Go to sleep, I'll get it for you. That is a woman who has power. The man didn't want it. But if you are wise, that woman, you know that, hey, my husband is the man, but I am the neck.
I made the head turn anyhow I want.
So you use it right.
Talking about this issue of finance, right? It has been a major issue. I have seen. I don't know if I should say this, but then it's a way to advise the young couple. Two people who are actually planning to get married. This particular issue, even before they got married, they separated. You are like, I know this particular thing is going to cause a problem when we get married. So go your way, let me go my way. And they both went away. Beautiful couple, beautiful. I used to see them and I like them, but I like the fact that they accepted this thing. It is going to be a problem, so they didn't even venture into the marriage. But
what I don't like is when you are making a decision, your whole life decision. Now if you don't think he's the right man, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Then it's okay. But if you think he's the right man and money is enough to stop both of you are, forgive me, you are not well.
You are not even ready.
They are not well. Because let me shock you. You should first be sure the one you are dealing with is the right one. The moment you find is the right one, you go all the way out. Like this is what I just said. If the man is supposed to make the decision, then the woman will say, okay, can we come a halfway? You don't want to be an older father. I don't want to be a younger mother. So can we come a halfway? So you realize that there is always a way, there's always a ground.
There's always a way.
There's always a ground. But if both of us can then have a ground for finance, not even once we are married. Okay, there is something wrong. I mean, forgive me. I'm not sure who they are, but forgive me. There should be something wrong. Whether you are not sure you have the right person, or perhaps you are not, your cognitive ability capacity is not raising right, because that is not the most important thing in marriage.
Yeah, it's just one of those.
One part of it.
Yeah. Now, when you see we are getting closer to the end, but then let me ask you your opinion about this. You see, in the world right now, talking about marriage, we are in a society where the woman will say, I go and come. You two, you go and come. Now we have children. Is it okay for one to relegate to the back, take care of the children, or we will have to find a way to make it work? In my opinion, maybe finding a way to make it work actually works. Families differ. Everybody has their own opinion and their own way to make things. Now, with how the workforce is functioning now in our society, you work and I work, so you understand whatever I'm saying. How do you think, especially the problem here is, unfortunately, let me say it, is the women. Okay, they feel like because I do what you do, I am like you. You understand? So there are some. It is a very big problem. Last, I think early this year, you were at the program and I was there too. A young lady picked the mic. I think it was in February, and then only the body language. And I happen to know the young lady's husband. So when she was speaking, I sat down. I was like, "What is she talking about?" You understand? And I have a career to pursue, and I want to do this, and I want. And the body, it was. Seeing how the young lady was carrying herself and everything, I felt bad actually. Looking at the person, I was like, is there a way that we can find a solution so that everybody feels okay in the marriage? Because I don't think we are in marriage to endure.
Compete.
You know, marriage is supposed to be enjoyed. So if you are going to endure because it's more like a competition and you are fighting through it, it becomes a problem. What is your opinion? How do you think? Certainly, you can't answer a problem that 18 million people have. But then, what is your opinion about this whole issue? What do you think?
Thank you again. I mean, it's. I was actually. I talked to the woman after the program.
Okay, the young lady that I'm talking about.
I mean, what is key is see what the man can do, the woman can do, and they say even better. Now, if I have a competent woman who can do certain things, and perhaps what they does bring me money to the home more than I do, I should first think: should I look for a babysitter? I mean, it's like Elon Musk have made a new robot that if you get pregnant and you can't carry the baby, they take the fetus, they take the embryo, they put into the
machine,
the robot, then the robot carries it for you for 9 months so that you can go ahead and fulfill your agenda. Like, I mean, the moment I read that, I laughed. I mean, it's that good for our age. But you know what is key? The moment the woman can say, I submit, it becomes difficult for the man to love. Let me shock you. If a woman to say, my husband, I have this, I want to work also. What can we do? Let me shock you. Every wise man wants to be respected. When you speak in the tone of what can we do, it's easier than the attitude of me too.
Me too, me too.
No, the moment you are saying me too, that we are already in competition. But we are not competing. We are to complete ourselves, not compete with ourselves. So when the woman have a thought to say, I am completing, then I'm thinking, what can we do? Should we give our fetus to the robot to carry for us for 9 months so that you can go to work? Yes. How much will it cost us? Can your work that you are doing pay for that robot? Because if the work that you are doing is less than how much money we pay the robot, then definitely, my dear, you should carry it and stay at home. You understand what I mean? But if it's going to make more money, perhaps twice than what we pay for the robot, then it's okay. You say, okay, then let's give it to the robot, then you'll go to work. But without that, let's come to that place first to know, I want to also achieve what I want to achieve. I will wish, my wife will always say, I always push her out. Why? Because if my wife stand out tall, and tomorrow she is the Sindaka. Should I say Sindaka? She's the Sindaka in Brescia. You know how brag? I say, yeah, that's my wife.
Yeah. That's your pride as well.
That's a pride. So every wise man would definitely wish the wife is out there. But for the sake of a home, the betterment of a home is the reason why one must sacrifice. That is, if you can't have somebody to substitute for your absence. Because sometimes you bring a babysitter. Oh, we heard a lot of stories in Brescia.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stories you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear.
They do a lot of that. You
realize that both of you on the road looking for money, but you are selling your children for cheap. Exactly. All because of money. So based on what you are thinking, we can tell now, okay, that means me sacrificing, being at home will be better than perhaps taking somebody to come and destroy our children's future, in whose name we are making all this money.
Exactly.
It's like these African fathers who build houses in Ghana. And they say, I built a house in Ghana for you, but the child will never go and
Never
live in
go.
Ghana. So you realize that all your work is zero. It costs 90. You've done something, but it still
But
costs
for
90. That's a good question.
Exactly. You
So
did something, but for
we should
what?
come to that place and say, okay, we are not competing, we are completing. So the question is, what can we do so that we can still fulfill our purpose?
I think at that point you actually get to understand the power of communication in marriage.
Thank you.
Okay, so when you sit down now, we have easier means of communication nowadays. But our communication nowadays is still zero.
I like that. I like that anyway.
I told a couple of my friends the other times that most of the times, not all, most of the times, most means like 90% of the times, people listen to you to reply.
Oh, see.
They don't listen to understand.
No. Thank you. That's a good way to put it.
They don't care about what you are saying. Finish yours and let me also say mine.
Thank you.
You understand? And if you live in marriage with that kind of attitude, it becomes difficult. I won't say impossible, because some people can bear with it for some time. But at the long run, what do you gain? You understand? So the power of communication, as to what my brother is saying, is best. Sit down with your partner, have a talk. Look, I do this job, you do this job, you take this, I take this. How then? Sometimes it's difficult for you to say let the man stay at home and do nothing. It's almost impossible. But then if it's possible, my young lady, just let certain things go. Take care of your family, because that's what you are toiling for. You are not working actually for the money to keep. You are working for the money to use it at home. So if you will get money and your children will go astray, I don't think that's the plan of anybody.
You use the word communication. This is our problem with the words. I think we use words, but we don't see the content of the word. The word communication means common union, right? Now, to commune is the word communication. So whenever we are communicating, we're supposed to be on the same environment. Now, the moment I am talking and you are ready to answer, we are not communicating. You see, that is why we have a problem with the word. So the problem is not the usage. The problem is the understanding of the usage. So we are communicating, but actually we are not. So after we finish, all of us are still angry because my voice was not heard. Because you didn't really hear what I was saying.
You didn't communicate.
You didn't communicate.
You were just shouting.
You were saying what you wanted to say. And that's sometimes the problem. But we should truly communicate. That is, I understand you from your perspective. That is when we are communicating. Then she should understand me from my perspective. Then afterwards, okay, that's your mind. That is mine. Can you put it together? Let's balance. Let me shock you. Funny story, say this story publicly. There is this young guy I met recently. The wife is a big time young lady. I mean, she's doing good impression. If I made the name, people will know it so easy. Like the husband was talking to me less than a week or two ago. They have a project. They want me to help them do the project. I was like, wow. When I heard the project, I was big. I mean, how can a young lady be that big? I mean, it doesn't make sense. But the young lady said, George, I almost quit my work for my wife because the wife is doing more. Now, the guy needs to shift his work so that he can take care of the children in the evening. Why? A wise man. He's a wise man. It's not about my wife being at work or me being at work. It's what is good for the home. What the wife makes in an hour, in 2 hours, is more than what the guy makes in 8 hours. Why won't you stay at home?
I will stay at home. But it all also depends on the kind of wife you have.
Thank you.
Because some people will make you feel like Bema Kotobonku now to feel near Jubana. All those ones, it makes the guy feel like,
of course.
Why,
I wouldn't want to stay.
I won't do it for you. So you understand. So I believe with the power of communication, we've said a lot. So talking about contemporary marriage compared to the original concept of marriage itself, with this conversation, anybody that watched us that had the opportunity to watch the whole video get to understand that there are limits. There are sometimes that you have to come to a compromise, come to an understanding that this thing, if I calm down a little, it's going to help us. Or this thing, if I'm firm, it's going to help us. Just, that's the power of communication.
Actually, nobody can keep a home without compromise.
Exactly.
Sincerely, if you're married over less than 1 year, it's different. You don't understand this one. But I'm married like over 10 years. You know that 10 times, I mean, let me say this. Marriage actually is more of giving than getting. When you are getting married and the first thought is, what do I get? You are gradually failing.
You are starting with
That is why the contemporary marriage doesn't work. So I'm marrying Brother Fred. I'm asking, hey, does he have sojourn? If I marry him, can I also get Machita Dinanza? You are going into something for life and the focus is getting. So when you don't get it, then the marriage is already a scam.
Or maybe when at the front they're getting ends, and it looks like you don't have
Okay,
any.
so why again am I here? See? But everybody marriage will tell, I am ready to give. That is marriage. Not ready to get. Because when you get married after 10 years, you know that it's all about giving, not getting. True people marrying is give. It's we trying to overlast the love for each other. So I ask for sex, my wife doesn't feel it. She still must give it. Not because she wants to, because she has to. It's not about getting, always about giving. So you are not in the mode, but you should be available.
Exactly.
And I tell you what I tell, if you are not thinking of giving, don't marry.
And that is the aspect of the man. Sometimes you have to come to a compromise. And then the giving, the beauty of the giving is you are not just giving because you have and then you are giving. You are giving because the other person you are giving to also is giving to you.
Thank you.
So everybody is just giving, not worrying about the getting,
No.
because automatically your giving makes you get something. That is the beauty of it.
That's it.
So if I give to you, I'm giving to you because the thing that I'm giving, I'm getting something in return.
Actually, if you give and you don't get something, the Bible call it mocking at God. I will say, what a man sow, that shall he also reap. So that means if you give and you don't get, nobody is mocked. God himself, the maker who made the marriage, is mocked. The devil laugh at him. So the moment you are giving, he will make sure that in your giving you get something. That is why we freely give, not because we have. It's because we know that the maker who sit up there will say, if he gave, then definitely something should go to him. And I pray that we that are here will say, okay, I'm getting married. My main focus, I should be ready to give. Give. That is it. The moment you understand there's something called giving in marriage and you marry, you are already a wife material. I'm not joking.
Exactly.
That is where sacrifice in marriage is birth. So you know, because you want to, but because you have to.
You have to, for the benefits of your other partner. I believe we can end this here right now, because if we go ahead, we can talk about this for like 6 hours and we won't finish, because marriage is a beautiful union that is somehow complex. I don't want to use the word complicated. It's complex. You can unbox it, but you have to be very careful because it has a lot of delicate parts.
Definitely.
And this is a beautiful conversation. My brother, thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Thank you for honoring my invitation. Okay, this has been Inside Out with your brother Daba Flipper, and I had my brother Usikeni Georges, one of the only professors in Brescia, to be with me on this show. I believe you've been blessed, you enjoy the show, and try to subscribe, like the video, and then let me know your thoughts in the comment section. See you in yet another video. Bye-bye.